Welcome to today's very casual video. I have some laundry that I need to fold. So while I do that, I'm gonna talk to you guys about 15 rules that I have adopted as a minimalist that really just allow me to live my life in a way that is very intentional, where I don't waste any of my time. These rules have totally changed my life and they can change yours too. The first rule is the 1 in, 1 out rule. You guys have probably heard this before, but it is a very effective way to keep clutter from coming into our homes. So for every new thing that we buy, whether it be a piece of clothing, whether it be a new Lego set for my kids, whether it be a new book, another thing preferably in the same category has to leave. The second rule that I follow, that if you don't follow this rule, it will literally change your life, and that is don't put it down, put it away. The biggest area where I've noticed that this has really paid off is with the dishes. We were really bad about just putting our dirty dishes into the sink when later on they would just have to be put into the dishwasher. And so just eliminating that step just made that process so much more streamlined. It saved me the unnecessary task of loading them into the dishwasher. It definitely takes some time to adjust to this rule, but you will see how much more streamlined your day goes when instead of just throwing your jacket down, you decide to hang it up, or just putting your keys on the counter, you put your keys in a designated spot. It can help you save time. It can help you not spend unnecessary time looking for things that weren't put in their proper place to begin with. The don't put it down, put it away rule is extremely effective in just keeping your day more streamlined. If it's not 100% heck yes, it is 100% no. I find that anything that I have to make a decision about, especially things that I need to buy, if I am not really excited about it, then that usually means that I don't need it. I also find that it usually results in me returning that item or having a lot of regret about buying it. And this is a great thing to teach your children as well. My kids are 7 and 11, so they're at that age where they're starting to buy things with money that they have earned. And you know, kids, oftentimes they want to spend the money regardless of whether or not they actually like what they buy. It's like the money is burning a hole in their pocket. And so this is something that I teach my kids. They're really big on Lego sets, and they'll get into this mindset sometimes where they'll just buy a Lego set, even if it's not the one that they wanted, just so that they can feel like they bought something. So adopting this mindset of if it's not 100% yes, it is a no, is a rule that will save you a ton of money and a lot of regret with purchases. The fourth rule that I follow is that I declutter daily. I don't wait for seasonal decluttering or quarterly decluttering or spring decluttering. I still do those things. But if there is something in my house that I see that we are not using or that we don't need, it goes into my car the exact same day. This is a really great way to just keep your home intentional and full of the things that you are actually using and empty of the things that you're not. The fifth rule that I live by is the wait a week rule. And this is for anything that I want to purchase over a certain dollar limit. Usually that dollar limit for me is $100. If something's over $100 and it wasn't budgeted in and I haven't thought about it, or if it's an impulsive purchase that I want to make, I make myself wait at least a week, longer if the price tag is higher. But I find that this is a great way to step away from those impulsive purchases that end up in your cart that you usually 90% of the time regret buying later. So instead what I'll do is I will either add it to a wish list on my phone, or I will take a picture of it. I like to take pictures of books when I see them that I want to buy. So that way I have a record of them and I don't feel like I'm going to forget about it, because I tend to get in this headspace where I'll see a book and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I really want that book. I really think that that would be beneficial. I really want to read it, whatever the case is. But I'm also super forgetful. So I'll just take a picture of it, and then that way my brain knows that I've done something with that impulse and I don't feel the immediate need to purchase it. And oftentimes when I do this, I find that after even just like 2 or 3 days, sometimes even as soon as I've walked out of the store, I'll totally forget about it. I actually have an entire like camera roll on my phone of books that I've taken pictures of that I wanted in the moment that still, even a year later, I haven't bought. So this is a great strategy to save yourself a bunch of money and prevent that clutter from piling up in your home. The 6th rule is that I keep my digital spaces as well as my physical spaces decluttered. I keep my iPhone in ultra minimalist mode all the time. I only have the apps on my phone that I use all the time. If there are apps that I use at certain times, when I need them, I'll download them, and then as soon as I'm done, I'll delete them. A good example of this is the All Trails app. I use it when I go hiking to find hiking trails. When I get home from the hike, then I'll just delete it off my phone because I'm not gonna need it. And then when I go out hiking again in a couple of weeks, then I'll download it again. I'm also really big about handling emails as soon as they come in, whether that read it and respond, or it needs to go into a folder that I have, or it's just junk and it needs to be deleted. I make sure that I handle them as soon as they come in. I will also make sure that if I get any type of emails that are spam or that I don't want, that I unsubscribe from them as soon as they come in so that I stop getting them in the future. I do the same thing on my MacBook. I don't have any apps or anything that I don't use. The background on my Mac is just a wallpaper. I don't have any apps or icons up on it, and this just makes doing work on my computer, especially in terms of YouTube, a lot easier. And I find that I can work more efficiently because I don't have to spend time hunting things down. I already know where they are. They're all organized into folders, and it just makes it very, very streamlined. The 7th rule that I follow is the nightly reset rule, and this applies to our home. I've heard other people call it putting the house to bed at night, which I think is really cute, but this is just when you make sure before you go to bed that everything is put back in its place. Electronics are put where they're supposed to go, the dishes are done, any laundry that got done that day is put away. So then when you wake up in the morning, you wake up to a home that's fresh and ready to go, and you don't have yesterday's to-do list staring you in the face. The 8th rule is choices versus trade-offs. I read a quote somewhere that said, you can have stuff or you can have freedom, but it's very difficult to have both. That quote resonated with me so deeply. I have not forgotten it since I read it the first time several years ago. But I always make sure to balance the cost of something versus the trade-off that I'm gonna get from it. If there is something that I wanna buy, but it's gonna put us in a financial predicament, then I really have to weigh, is the financial predicament gonna be worth the cost? And spoiler alert, it never is. So this is a really good way to just lean into enjoying things in life that are simple. I find that the simple things often give us the most joy, and I find that things that we have to buy just give us that sort of artificial joy that honestly doesn't even last very long. When I make the choice to not buy that unnecessary thing, I am also making the choice to be more financially secure and to practice the muscle of contentment. The 9th rule that I follow is being intentional with offline time. There's this perception in our modern day and age that if you take too much time to respond to a text, that the other person feels like you're mad at them or something. There's just this sense of urgency that we have to respond to things immediately. And I think that that's why so many of us feel like we have to have our phones on us all the time, because if we get a notification, we have to respond to it right away. But it's so good for our mental health to really be intentional with how much time we are available to everybody else in the world. When I want to be offline and I don't want to be accessible and I really just want to step away from my phone so I can be really present with my family or whatever else we have going on, I will put it on silent mode and put it in my bedside table drawer where it's tucked away and I can't see it. And I find that once it's tucked away and out of sight, I really just forget and I don't have that impulse to check my phone the way that I do if it's just sitting on the counter, even if it's sitting on the counter face down. I read somewhere that your phone being in the same room with you causes you to have this low-key anxiety if you're not holding it and if you're not checking it. But when it's put away out of sight and out of mind, you don't have that same impulse, and that anxiety is completely gone. I have found that that is absolutely true. So being intentional with being offline, not being accessible all the time, can really help us to not just be more present in the moment, but it really helps us to build that muscle of not feeling like we have to be connected 24/7. And I find that it just puts me in a state of really being relaxed and calm. The 10th rule is more of a philosophy, but it is that life is as simple or as difficult as we make it. Oftentimes I think that we make life so much more complicated than it really needs to be. I mean, we make ourselves busy, we buy houses that are too big, that require too much of our time, we buy things that need our care, we spend money that we really don't have buying things that we think are gonna make our lives better when they won't, and oftentimes they just make our lives more difficult. But the more we have, the more decisions that we have to make. The more busy our schedules, the more frantic our lives. So I make decisions that make my life simple. I don't overschedule myself or my kids. We live within our means. We enjoy the simple things in life by being thankful for everything that we have. And we understand that the good life isn't the life where you have it all. It isn't the life where you're winning all of the things. It isn't so much of what our culture tells us that it is. The simple, uncomplicated life is the good life because it's less stressful. It's more calm. It allows you to enjoy the little things in life that really, when you get to the end of your life, you realize were the most meaningful all along. The 11th rule that I swear by is to get off social media. Stop the comparison. Stop the waste of time scrolling through other people's lives. Stop being influenced by the world. The average person right now in 2025 with their consumption will spend 6 years and 8 months on their phone over the course of their lifetime. This is enough time to climb Mount Everest 32 times. It's just wild. While these seemingly really insignificant amounts of time where you're just sitting on the couch, vegging out, scrolling, whatever, they add up to years of your life sitting on a phone, scrolling. And life, after all, is really just a sum total of all the decisions that we decided to make. So please get off social media. Life is better. There is less comparison, there is more freedom, there is more time being present with the people that you care about the most. Just get off social media. Speaking of meaningful use of my time, the 12th rule that I live by is to spend my downtime in quality leisure activity. I absolutely will not sit down on the couch and just veg out. First of all, I feel like I get more tired if I do that, but it's just not a way to rejuvenate me. I don't feel filled up or relaxed after I do that. I would much rather sit down and read a book or be outside working in the flower bed or lounging by the pool or spending my weekend camping with my family. All of these things fill my cup up, and they don't leave me feeling empty the way that doing things usually involving a screen, funny enough, will leave you feeling. If you find that when you get home from work and you're just really tired and all you want to do is sit down on the couch and watch TV, pay attention to how you feel after you do that. And then try switching that to something that, number one, doesn't involve a screen, but number two is something that really can calm you down, Like just sitting and drinking, a tea or reading a book or just sitting and chatting with whoever happens to be in the room. Those type of things, I think you'll find just fill you up so much more than mindless leisure time, like video games and watching TV or watching movies or doing things like that. Again, our lives are the sum total of the decisions that we make. And so over the course of your life, do things that fill your cup and not empty it. The 13th rule that I follow, that I have actually followed for a long time, even before I became a minimalist, is I have figured out that upgrading is not a requirement. Often we see this with cell phones or really any type of technology. We sort of live in this age where when the new gadget comes out, we feel like we have to upgrade for it. I mean, look at the lines that you see when the new iPhone comes out. Now, 10 years ago, when you upgraded your phone, those of you who are old enough to remember this, you would pay a $200 upgrade fee and you would get a new phone. And the new phone would have legitimately cool, new, helpful, useful features that you were excited about. And now you upgrade, pay $1,200 for a new device, and it really isn't that much better. They might be a little bit bigger. They apparently have faster processors. I have never seen a new iPhone be faster than the last iPhone, but the upgrades now just aren't worth it. And so getting out of the cycle of not upgrading my tech constantly has saved me so much money, I'm sure, but I'm still rocking a 2021 iPhone Pro Max. It works great. That's what I'm filming on right now. The camera is beautiful and it works just fine. And I don't need to upgrade every single year. Another thing that I want to throw in here is that I do not use duplicate technology. So a really good example of this is having both an iPhone and an iWatch. I just don't get it. I don't understand needing to have a device that does the exact same thing as your phone, which your phone is probably in your back pocket while your watch is on you. I don't understand needing two of the exact same thing, not to mention how much money you spend, not only just on the watch, but on switching out the bands and the screen protector. I don't get it. I don't think it's a far stretch to say that our technology and the duplicate technology that everybody is so obsessed with plays a major role in all of those things. So no duplicate tech for me. The 14th rule that I live by is less but better. Oftentimes this is applied to clothing, which is great. It's definitely something that I follow. I will happily buy more expensive clothing if it means that I am buying it once every couple of years instead of once every couple of months. I have definitely bought cheap clothing from places like Target or like those random places at the outlet mall that you see, and they just don't hold up. They either lose their color, more often than not, they lose their shape, and it doesn't even take that long, like 5 washes. So I just don't find that buying cheaper is ever better. I will happily spend $94 on a pair of these Viore joggers because these have lasted me 5 years at least and literally show no sign of wearing down. So in the long run, when you buy less, but you buy better quality, it will always pay off. And honestly, it's just a better long-term investment to have a couple of really high quality things than to have a bunch of low quality things that you have to end up replacing every few months anyway. The 15th rule that I live by is if it takes less than 2 minutes to do, just do it. This is a really great way to get those tasks that you look at and you think, oh, I'll get to that later, taken care of right away. You know, whether it's a pile of laundry that needs to be put away, which I'm gonna do after I get done filming, or a counter that needs to be cleaned off, or making your bed instead of putting them off can make your home much more tidy with a lot less effort. There is one bonus that I want to give you guys, and that is that I leave my Bible out on my countertop open every single day. This is a really good way where you can be in the Word throughout the day without having to sit down and have like a dedicated time and space to read. There are so many times when my Bible's open and I'm walking by it and I'll look down and I'll read whatever is there. Oftentimes it'll prompt me into prayer of some kind, or it'll just be a really good reminder that I really just needed that day. And so this is a small but really effective way to be in the Word constantly throughout the day without having to set aside like a block of time to sit down and read. Not that you shouldn't do that. I always start my day in the Word and in prayer, but I really think that it's important to be in the Word throughout the day, not just at the beginning. So these are the rules that I follow because they just make my life better. They've really allowed me to get clear and intentional on what matters, and it's helped me to get rid of everything that doesn't matter and that isn't valuable to me. I hope this video was encouraging to you, and I'll see you in the next one.